To have your name in the title of the movie can normally mean that you're the hero. Well, we'll see about that as we concentrate on the male names in movies, famous characters and famous movies. Before we reveal all with our guest, here's Neil with some fascinating facts.
Thank you very much, guys. So let's dive straight into the facts that I have for you. In Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks ad-libbed the famous line, "My name's Forrest Gump. People call me Forrest Gump."
I gotta pay.
From Jerry Maguire, "Show me the money" became one of the most quoted movie lines ever said.
Show me the money.
Jamie Bell beat out over 2,000 boys for the role of Billy Elliot.
It's okay. It's gonna be okay.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the parade scene, was filmed during a real Chicago parade.
It's over. Go home.
J.K. Rowling insisted that only British actors be cast in all the Harry Potter films.
It's Harry Potter.
Johnny Depp only says 169 words in the whole movie of Edward Scissorhands.
Give it to my loved ones.
Donnie Darko almost went straight to DVD, but it became a cult classic instead.
Well, life isn't that simple.
John Wick was originally going to be called Scorn, but Keanu Reeves kept calling it John Wick, so they changed it.
I'm thinking I'm back.
Jamie Foxx used his own horse, Cheetah, in the film Django Unchained.
Billy Crabs. Now, whoa.
Gene Wilder only took the role of Willy Wonka if he could do the limp to somersault entrance in the movie.
You lose! Good day, sir!
Well, have fun with all these facts. Have fun with the podcast. See you soon.
Thank you very much, Neil. Lovely to hear your dulcet tones once again. Yes, movies with... Now, I was trying to... Is it movies with boys' names or movies with male names? I didn't know what was the correct way of putting it, but it's movies with boys' names, and I'm very, very happy to introduce Rhys from the Crook Cut Podcast. Hello, Rhys, and all the way in the other side of the world in... Now, is it sunny Australia at the moment? I think it's your winter now, isn't it?
Yeah, we're heading into winter.
Oh, yeah. But I think winters in Australia is probably a little bit different to winters in the UK, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not. Well, I would tell you temperature, it's not that cold. But then our summer here is probably like a heat wave for you, like, so
Well,
it's a bit different.
Welcome to the podcast, Rhys.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I was saying before we pressed record that I've listened to a few episodes of your podcast, and you're literally, how many episodes have you done of your podcast?
Oh, maybe 13 or 14, I think.
So you're right at the start of your journey. You probably still haven't quite worked out what the podcast is, because I've found when we started that it would always, you would add little things or take little things away, and your skills of doing a podcast get more tuned as you keep going. But let's start from the start. What made you want to do a podcast?
So actually way back a couple of years ago, I had a podcast with my brother and a friend, and we talked movies, and then we all kind of moved like away from each other, and it all kind of fell apart. And after that, I was like, I want to bring it back. And I was waiting for the right time. And, there is never a right time. And I was waiting to find someone else, like a host, because I enjoyed doing it with them. I was like, I don't know that I could sit and just talk into a mic. And then you found me on Threads. I wanted to post somewhere, and I didn't know where to post where I could just like share my ideas. So I started posting on Threads, and I started getting DMs like, you're actually very intelligent about all this stuff. Like, you should start a podcast. And I was like, is this the sign? Is this the sign? And then I bought my mic. I got my mic from my parents' house. Like, I had it all. I started recording episodes and not posting them. And I was like, what is actually holding me back? So one night at like 11 p.m, I just clicked send, and I put a pod episode out, and I just love it so much. Like, I just have such a joy about it. So yeah, it's all stemmed from just a passion of cinema, film, and I just want to share my ideas with everyone,
And that's the beauty of it, is because I listen to a lot of podcasts, obviously, and I've done 13 years of different types of podcasts. And like I said, the one thing that struck me about yours was just the sheer enthusiasm and freshness, because you're somebody that has just started, so you've got it's it's like being like a 6-year-old kid who wants to tell an adult a story. It's like, and I don't want to sort of belittle you and say,
you're like,
yeah,
you're
it's like I got to tell you this. I've got to tell you this. Oh my God, there's this bit and there's that bit and there's this bit. And the episode that I was listening to, the last episode I listened to of yours was the oh God, about the twists in the movies.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And I don't know. I didn't look at your Letterboxd account or whatever, but I kept saying, "Old Boy, you've got to see Old." And have you watched Old Boy yet?
I have seen Old Boy, yeah.
Because that is the movie that my co-host Neil said to me for years. Said, "You've got to watch Old Boy, Neil." And I watched it, and I was sat watching it on my iPad in my dining room table, and when the twist happens at the end, which we won't spoil for people if they haven't seen it, because for me it's one of the greatest twists ever, I literally stood up with my hand over my mouth like, oh my God. And I was so, and it's very rare to get me shocked at things, because you can normally see a twist coming. Do you know what I mean? So all I kept shouting at, and this was weird because I was at work at the time, so I was going, Old Boy, you've got to watch Old Boy. So I thought, I'm gonna wait until I see it. But I'm glad that you've seen it, because it's one of those movies that anybody that says that they love a good twist in a movie, and that was a really great episode, because there was one of the movies that I'd never heard of that you spoke about. So
I can't remember. I know Frozen was one of them.
Yeah, but that wasn't the one. But I will add that movie. I can't remember what it is now, but I will add it to the ever-growing list of stuff that I need to watch. So
I'm going to think about this, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
That's fine. So what would you like your ultimate goal to be in podcasting?
I think just like, I don't know, like, as cringe as it sounds, like, I just really cringe. Like, I just really want everyone to find joy in cinema. And honestly, if I can just do this and only 100 people listen to it, like, I just genuinely have such a passion for it. And I want everyone to care about it and love it and, like, think that they can come in and watch movies. Because I think the internet is so oversaturated with experts in this and experts in that. And, like, I love Letterboxd so much, but Letterboxd can be such a, like, dangerous area as well, because everyone thinks they're like this expert, and if you don't like this, then you don't understand good cinema. And I don't like that. I think if someone doesn't like something in the capacity you do, that's okay. There's room for everyone. So I just hope that, like, people can come find my podcast and just enjoy feeling like she's sharing an opinion, but, like, I feel like it's okay that I think different. Like, I don't know, I just genuinely enjoy sharing my opinion. And, you know, I guess, like, the ultimate goal, of course, would be, like, working in Hollywood and, like, interviewing, like, them on the red celebrities on the carpet, and, like, doing their, what's the word, their, like, marketing tours, like when the movie gets, their press tours, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, of course, that would be a goal, but if that's not obtainable, as long as I can, like, create a safe space on the internet for people to come and, like, enjoy and just feel like they can discuss cinema, like, that's all I want, you know?
And as much as the internet has good moments and bad moments, the one thing I will say is that I'm going to sound like a doddery old fart now. I'm just going to. But back in the old days, you know, you used to have to work for the BBC or work for someone to be able to get in front of these big stars. These days, you know, you're one thread message away from Ryan Reynolds. You know, you're one thread message away from whichever big star. And I've found that places like X, for its good and its bad, if you can catch a certain person at the right time, you can get them on your podcast. I've done it, and I've got no leeway with people. You know, I'm not a part of any website or anything like that. There's been certain times when I've noticed somebody on X and just quickly messaged them and said, or just dropped them a tweet and said, would you be a guest on my podcast? And then next minute they're following me and I can DM them, and it becomes, it's like Hollywood directors or one of my favorite comedy writers. So you're always, it's luck, but it's also, you literally are, you know, one tweet, one message away from someone. If you were just, it's just that right moment. So stick with it, because it is a gift that keeps giving. I will tell you that as a podcaster. I've not laughed so much in the last 13 years with my co-host Neil and with guests that we've had, and just in situations, and it opens doors. I always say to myself, oh God, I've been doing it 13 years. I really should have made a career out of it by now. You know, what have I actually achieved? And then when I look at it and I think of the amazing people that I've met, now, not just famous people, other podcasters, meeting you. Now, I would never have met you if it hadn't been for podcasting. Do you know what I mean? And it's bringing, you know, somebody over the other side of the world who is celebrating winter while I'm celebrating summer. It's ridiculous, you know, in any other, how would that ever happen? So, and the fact is, now that we've met, hopefully after this, we'll be friends, and we'll be friends all the time. And you can come on our podcast anytime you want. So it's a great thing. So good luck with your journey. I'm a little bit envious that you're at the start of the journey, because you've got so much fun ahead of you and so many great things that could happen. And I love the fact that you've got all this positivity and that you're going to try and create a nice positive space, because the other thing is, sadly, the people that make money in podcasting and anything to do with the internet are all the ones that just create negative stuff, because that's what gets clicks. You know, it's just the way things are. But carry on doing what you're doing, and you've got a subscriber anyway. You've got a subscriber with me, so I'll be listening to whatever it is you do. And then in like 5 years' time, when you are on the red carpet, I'm kind of hoping that you'll let me be your personal assistant or something.
Of course. I always remember where I came from. I will always remember.
I hope so. Everybody, that we'll timestamp that, so we've got that. Yeah. I will save that for when I need to. When it looks and it says Rhys Crook on the Oscars red carpet, you know, talking to the latest. Yeah, I'll remember. Don't you? If you forget, I'll remember.
I won't forget. It's up here. I've said it now.
Wonderful. And I will put the link to Rhys's podcast in the show notes. So all you need to do is click on it, and then you can go and have a listen as well. And I thoroughly recommend it. Right. In regards to the job for today, how easy or hard did you find creating your top 10 of movies with male names in?
Well, to be honest, I like to think I'm like a bit of like an encyclopedia of movies. And then I got your message and I was like, 10. I was like, does 5 even exist? Like, what? So I went on to IMDb and I was like, scrolling. I was like, okay, there's so many. And then I just scrolled through and was like, okay, this one. Got a list of 10, and then I sort of like jumbled, like curated it in my 10 sort of thing. A lot more than I thought, actually. Like a lot more than I thought.
It is weird when you do think about it, because you think, oh God, that's such a niche sort of subject to try and get a top 10 out of. But I do the same. The way I normally do it is I will list ones off the top of my head, and then I'll go to Google or IMDb, and all of a sudden you go, oh my God, of course that one. Oh my God, of course. And then you end up with a list of 50 that you've then got to try and whittle down to 10. So I will say that a lot of mine, I've already spoken about a lot on other podcasts. So I will say something little, and our listeners will be glad to know that I'm not going to go through the same old stories. So this is all going to be on you, Rhys, this episode. Okay. So kick us off with your number 10.
The number 10.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Oh, before we do that, we got this. That's my fault.
Sorry.
That was my fault.
Challenge.
What the fuck are you saying?
Thank you, Lisa. So how many do you think we're going to have the same? How many duplicates do you think we're going to have in the top 10? Out of 10, obviously.
3?
3? Okay.
I reckon 3.
Okay. See, I think 1, 2. That's a good shape. See, 3. That's a good. I'm going to go. I'm going to say 2. I'm going to go 2. And we'll see at the end who wins that little challenge. Right. Okay. I apologise. Rhys, kick us off with your number 10.
Okay, question, sorry, before. I usually like to say the year and the director. Do you do that, or just the title?
You carry on. You give us as much information and as much facts as possible.
Okay, so number 10, I have the 1995 film by Tamra Davis, Billy Madison.
Oh, right. Okay. Now, so that's an Adam Sandler movie, isn't it?
Yeah, that is an Adam Sandler movie.
Are you an Adam Sandler fan?
I'll definitely say more like when I was a little bit younger. Like, I'm in my early 20s now. I definitely say like late teens. I was like, Adam Sandler is so funny. But now I'm kind of like, oh, it is what it is. Like, I really appreciate like the movies he makes. I think that if we were all in his position, we'd be doing it. I'd be having all my friends on yachts in like the middle of the Caribbean, like making movies.
Buying them
So
all
I
4x4s,
think,
yeah.
yeah, like I think some of his movies now, I'm not sure they age as well as like others. And I definitely like really appreciated his work in like Uncut Gems. I wish we saw more of that in his filmography. But this movie in particular, like this is just, I don't know, it really stands out to me in like my childhood. Like it's one of the first like funny movies I like consciously can remember, and like I could understand kind of what was happening at like 8 or 9 when I watched it. So I used to think this was like the epitome of like comedy and like comedic timing. I love this movie so much.
It doesn't get any better than that in your eyes. You're thinking of when you're 8 or 9 years old. So
I was like, cinema peak tier.
So you have to, because I'm not an Adam Sandler fan, so I've not particularly watched a lot of his movies. Is Billy Madison the golf movie?
No, that's Happy Gilmore.
Happy. I always get those two mixed. So what happens in Billy Madison then?
So essentially, do you want me to read like the synopsis I have written down?
Please do. This would be like a mini Rhys episode of a podcast. Carry on.
So basically, Billy Madison is a 27-year-old son of a millionaire who's made a living in the hotel industry, and Billy stands to inherit his father's empire, but if he can make it through all 12 grades, 2 weeks per grade to prove that he has what it takes to run his family business. So essentially, you have 27-year-old Billy who's kind of thrown his life away. He just parties all the time. He gets drunk with his friends, and his father says, "You're in line to take over this business, and I don't trust you." So he's like, "What can I do to prove to you that I'm loyal?" And he goes, "You didn't even pass school. I paid off all your teachers to pass you at school, blah, blah, blah." So he says, "You're going to go from grade 1 through to grade 12, and you're going to get 2 weeks of each grade. And if you can pass each grade in the 2 weeks, you'll inherit it." So already, like, what a ridiculous concept. You got a 27-year-old in a room of 5-year-olds learning about, I think they read a book that's like The Lost Puppy.
All right.
Book, and he's like, "Why is the kid not finding his dog?" Like, he gets really angry about it. So yeah, I just thought it was so, like, the concept was so funny that he's like, 2 weeks. At one point he's in grade 3 and they're doing a spelling bee, and to pass grade 3 he has to spell the word couch, and he's like C-O, and then he's like W. He's like, he's not sure. And again, I just think it's so funny, like it's so silly, and yeah, I loved it.
Have you watched it recently to be able to sort of gauge it with other comedy movies you've watched now?
I probably watched this about 12 months ago. Trying to think of something, like, it's just like very 90s. Like, I don't really, like, I feel like 90s comedy was so like what it was. I don't know, like, from what I've seen, and I just feel like it's very 90s. Trying to think of something recently. I feel like recently, like, it's all like political stuff, so I can't really match it to anything now, but it's just like such like a late 80s, early 90s kind of movie type beat. Lots of innuendo and nothing over the top, like in your face, like X-rated or anything, but it's just like alludes to it and stuff. So yeah. I think that's why I was a kid, because it's like, he said a naughty joke, but like I got it.
See, this is where I'm worried now. I'm worried about whether any of my movies are going to were out before you were born, that's the kind of...
I'm 02, baby, so 02.
There you go. I think I've got a couple that might be just in the sort of time when you were born, but that's a great... Yeah, I don't know what... not Billy Madison, Adam Sandler is a little bit like Jim Carrey for me. Sometimes he's great. I think when he's doing straight roles, like Uncut Gems and things like that, I think he's really good. Then he just does that sort of mugging stuff, and he does sometimes it's with a weird voice, and you think, okay. But like you say, if you're in his position, you'd get all of your friends to be in the movies, go to Jamaica or somewhere, shoot a great movie, have a holiday. I mean, he's got Netflix money now as well, hasn't he, Adam Sandler?
Yeah. I also think it's like, in my opinion, like, horror and comedy are the two hardest genres to nail, because everyone's gauging of like something that's funny and then something that's scary is so vast. We could sit here and watch like a fantasy film and yeah, it's a different world, or watch a drama and you could see, oh yeah, like that's clearly like a conflict. So I think not all of his hits for sure, and again, he's not always going to get it right, but like I think it's fun that he tries, I guess, and it's also fun that he's got his like little group of like actors that show up in every film, and it's kind of like, where's Wally? Like they're gonna be in this movie somewhere. So I love that about him. But yeah, I can definitely see why he's not everyone's a fan.
No, yeah, absolutely. Okay, great one to kick us off with. My number 10 is a movie I've probably spoke about more than, apart from Star Wars, any other movie on our top 10 podcast. Kevin Costner, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. There's been loads of different Robin Hood movies. This one, as I've said it many times, this is like mine and my wife's movie when we were just going out back in 1992, 3, whenever it came out. We had a dance in the cinema when everybody had left because it was Bryan Adams and Everything I Do for You at the end. It's a great rip-roaring movie. It's Robin Hood, and Kevin Costner doesn't do an English accent and got lambasted for it at the time, because he sounds like this American drawl. But I love Kevin Costner. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is a great movie. I've seen that. I'd like to say a movie like that, which is way before you were born. Have you seen Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
I've never seen a Robin Hood movie at all.
Have you not? I would recommend it because Alan Rickman, who obviously played Snape in Harry Potter, is a great villain in that, and it's a great adventure movie, sort of in like the Indiana Jones style.
I love Indiana Jones.
So it's that kind of thing with a real good bad guy that Alan Rickman was, just chewing up the scenery. Great action scenes in it. Robin Hood is one of those characters that there's been so many movies. I mean, Disney did a movie where Robin Hood was a little fox, and it's.
I've never seen any Robin Hood.
Have you not? It's. I would recommend the Disney. There you go. That's an episode for you. Just watching Robin Hood movies.
I'm writing that down.
There you go. But it was, I mean, the song that came from it was a UK number one for, I think, 16 consecutive weeks. It was a Bryan Adams song that ended up where everybody hated the song because it was all that they played. It was a massive hit of a movie. It was Kevin Costner when he was at the height of his, career in the mid to early 90s. And it just has everything. It's just a great... Morgan Freeman's in it. Christian Slater.
I can't.
Have you not? Oh, bless you, you young soul, you.
I like to think I have such a wide range of knowledge and whatever of all the years, but I've literally never heard of it.
Well, you know what? Because the one thing I always joke about in every episode is there's always, whether it's music or it's movies or TV, someone will always come up to it and say, "Oh, you should watch this." And I literally, in the back of my book, I have a list that I add those things to it, and the list is 5-6 pages long of stuff that sooner or later I'm going to have to work through and watch these things. It's great that I'm starting off your list on your podcast, that you're going to now have a list of things that you may have a few more on my top 10 that you can go and, it does get a lot of crap thrown its way because Kevin Costner doesn't speak in an English accent and stuff, but I think it's a great adventure movie. It is so much fun. It's funny. I won't say any more. Just go and watch it because it is a really, really good movie, in my opinion.
I've written it down, so don't worry, I wrote it down.
Wonderful. My job is done. Okay, what's your number 9 then, please, Rhys?
Okay. I will be very surprised if you even know what this one is. It's a 2006 film by Betty Thomas, and it's called John Tucker Must Die.
I have heard of it. I I can't say I've seen it, I must admit.
I don't really think it... Yeah, probably not. So this one is basically just high school drama. There's a group of girls and 3 of them find out they're all dating the same guy. He's a bit of a womanizer. And then this 4th girl starts at the new school and they basically doll her all up to try and give this John Tucker guy a taste of his own medicine by making him fall in love with her and then being like, never mind, it's all been fake, we're going to break your heart like you broke ours. So it sounds so ridiculous, but it's one of my favorite movies. It's 2006, so it's such an early 2000s movie in the outfits and the concept of it alone. And I love it. And I also love that it's called John Tucker Must Die. I think it's such a misleading title. spoiler, no one dies in the movie. But yeah, I love it so much. I think it's like so ridiculous, and yeah, it's so fun.
Is it like in the spirit of like Mean Girls and things like that?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the movie that came after Mean Girls, like, you know, kind of that whole idea. I can liken it towards something like modern, like 2023. I think Bodies is a movie that came out. It's kind of like that one, just like ridiculous, over the top, like scenarios that would literally never happen, but it makes sense in the context of the movie, and I just think it's so funny.
I really feel that like worlds are colliding tonight. You know, do you know what I mean? It's like, or should I say, generations are colliding, because it just almost feels.
These are probably my two most like niche, like more like teenage girl ones. But after that, I promise, I've got some more worldly, you know, ones.
Because I really feel like putting that on my list is going to make me look like a weirdo, you know. I'm going to start getting knocks on the door from the police.
I think I watched this movie when I was like 11 for the first time, and then I'm pretty sure I've watched it like every year since. It's like one of my yeah.
So it's like it's just on your rotation of movies that are like that if you put on the background, it's kind of.
Yeah, and I'm not a rewatcher. Like, I hardly ever rewatch anything. So sometimes you just need that comfort movie, and like early 2000s, like ridiculous, like teenage, like rom-coms or whatever. Like, I love them. Like, that's like my kryptonite. Like, I love them so much. I think the early 2000s was such like a golden era for that particular genre of filmmaking. So I love it. But yeah.
That's great. No, that's great. That is great. And the other thing, as we've always said about it, is that everybody's top 10 is correct. All right, nobody's top 10 is wrong, because it's subjective, and it's your top 10. So do you know what I mean? If you should never be swayed by what you think. Oh, I should put this down because it's this, that, or the other. Mm-hmm. You put down the movies that you love, because that's what it's all about. That's what your top 10 is all about. Because
I was also trying to think movies that I didn't think you would have.
Well, I mean, you know, it's fine to do that, but at the same time, you know, I would rather you have the movies that you absolutely love, because that's, again, it's the passion that you can talk about them. And John Tucker Must Die is on that list.
Yes.
Okay, so my number 9, I think Neil mentioned this one in his facts, and that is John Wick. How many there's been now? 4, I think there's been 4 John Wick movies.
Yeah.
But the first one is one of those mold breakers. You know, there hadn't been a film like that before. The fact that he goes.
By the way.
Oh, that's your number 6. Okay, we have one. Yay, we have one the same.
Sorry, I didn't know if I could tell you that, but yeah, that one's my number 6 one. The first one specifically.
Excellent. But the thing is like when you say, well, he goes on a killing rampage because somebody kills his dog, it's such a weird concept in regards. I mean, obviously there is more to that, but the fact that, and I love those kind of movies where the protagonist is one of these like bulletproof, they can like kill you with literally their thumb if they need to, or with a pencil. And I love those kind of revenge movies. The Equalizer is another one with Denzel Washington. I love those movies because they're just so cool. And the one thing about Keanu Reeves, he's better the least amount of words he has to say. If he's just stony silent and that, he's great. It's when he has loads of stuff to say, you can find out he's not a particularly good actor. Although, Keanu, if you're listening and you want to come on the podcast, please come on the podcast. So, okay, but it's higher for you than it is for me. So why is it number 6 for you?
I think, so I'm not really, like, when I started really watching, like, lots of movies and stuff, action was definitely a genre that I, like, put on the back burner, because I was like, oh, like, no thanks, like, I don't want to watch that. And then John Wick 4 was coming out, so I decided to watch it, because my brother was like, do you want to go see it? And I was like, I haven't seen any of them. And I watched the first one, and I was like, I need to watch 2 and 3 right now. Like, I need to watch it right now. I just loved the idea that, like, yes, his dog gets killed and he goes on a rampage. And for me, I was like, I wonder what my breaking point would be, where all my rage for everything that's ever gone wrong is like, that's it. Like, everyone's going to cop my rage. And I just love that about it. But I also think it's, like, so sad and poetic, because, like, obviously the point was it was his tie to his wife. and then it was gone. And I was like, you know what? I'd probably go on a rampage too.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoyed the fact that it was such like a silly thing that happened, and then what ensues is just like these epic action sequences. And I love like the cool like kills, and like sometimes you can see it's very choreographed, but I actually love that about it and stuff like that. I just really, it's probably the first like action movie that I like really loved. So that's why I put it down.
Great. That's great. Yeah. And also the fact that he has the skills to be able to do what he does. He's not just some schlub off the street that is just going to go, and that's where it, I mean, none of it's really believable, because you've got hundreds of people dying and there's not a single police one around. You know, there's no police coming around. You know,
all day to just be like,
yeah, and he gets shot and he gets stabbed, and he just has a couple of magic like injections, and all of a sudden he's back up and running again. Or in the fourth one, he falls out of like a 6-story building onto a Volkswagen van, and then just picks himself up and sort of does,
He goes up those stairs 3 times. Like, there's no way. No one can go up those stairs that many times.
That was the moment that that he jumped the shark, as they say. That was the moment that me and my wife looked at it and went, really? It wasn't the fact that, like I say, he got to the bottom after getting to the top of the stairs. Then he did it again, and then he fell down again, and we just looked and going, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous.
Up at that point, just give up.
Yeah, exactly. But, okay, we've got our first duplicate. That's great. Wonderful. So that was my number 9. So on to your number 8 then, please.
Number 8, I have 1994. I don't know how to say the director's name. I think it's like Tom Shadyac, but it's Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Oh, my Lord. Now we're going to have a conversation. Okay.
Oh, no. Good one or bad one?
This is the only movie in my life that I've ever walked out halfway through.
No way.
I just could not. So, but anyway, why is it in your top 10?
Okay, well, for me, again, this is such a nod at my childhood. It's just another one of those ones where, like, my dad is, like, one of those people that would just, like, randomly be, like, wake up and be like, I remember this random movie. And then he had this big case. It looked like a suitcase where Mum and Dad had taken all the discs out of the, like, whatever, and put them in little CD ones for more space. And he was, like, going through it, and he pulled it out. And he was like, oh, it's about a pet detective. And I was like, Dad, I'm not watching that. Like, I think it was like 12 at the time. I was like, I'm too cool for this, Dad. And then he, like, put it on, and I just couldn't. I was locked in because I was like, what is going on? Like, this is so weird. It's so, like, out there. And it was very Jim Carrey to me. And I like him. I don't like Me, Myself, and Irene that much. That's probably the only movie where I'm like, no. But I just loved it. I thought the concept was so beyond ridiculous that it was so funny. And I actually think it all worked, like, well together. I'm not a huge fan of the second one, but this one, I think the main reason I love it is, like, my dad showed it to me, but also, like, I just couldn't believe that it was even a thing that got, like, the green light. Like, I was like, what do you mean? He's, like, wrestling a dolphin at one point. Like, I was so confused by it, but I also loved it so much.
Yeah, there's been times when I've thought to myself, because I've never watched it since, so I've literally watched half of the movie. And see, I love stupid comedy. I you know, Airplane, Naked Gun, those kind of, I love that kind of comedy. And I don't know whether it's just it was the whole sort of alrighty then and all that kind of stuff. It just, for some reason, I don't know, maybe I was just in a mood that day, so I don't know whether it just I can remember looking at my wife and going, this is ridiculous. And this is somebody that, like I say, loves that kind of comedy. So I have toyed with the fact of maybe I should just go and, should I watch it again? Maybe watch the first half and watch another 10 minutes and just see whether I feel like I need to walk out of my own house instead of walking out of the cinema. Or I might just go, oh, actually, yeah, it's not that bad, because so many people say, you know, they've had it in their top 10 of comedy movies and 90s comedy movies. And so I don't know whether it might be, I mean, it is just me. I know it's just me because it was a massive hit all around the world. It was hundreds of millions of dollars it took. Made Jim Carrey like the mega star that he is, or that he was at the time. But absolutely. And again, don't apologize for having it in your top 10. It's just because I say that, you know, it's part of your top 10. So I should apologize and say I shouldn't.
No. I just think I, like, value these movies because I think movies are a big part of my life, and I always
Mm.
say to my mum, I can remember things that happened in my life and the movies I watched at the time. Sometimes I remember things that happened in life because I can recall what I was, watching. So I think I tie a lot of like these first three in particular that I've spoken about have been such like ties to my childhood and stuff like that. And I just hold like such good memories with that time. So maybe it's not always a good movie. It was just a good time in life. I don't know, but
I personally think that that's what any kind of art does, whether it's movies, music. It can just transport you back to that specific time in your life. And I think that's the beauty of those kind of things. It doesn't matter what kind of movie it is or what kind of song it is, it takes you back to that. It's like that moment I've said before in other episodes, that moment in Ratatouille when the stuffy food critic takes that one bite of Ratatouille and it transports him back to being a kid and his mum making it for him. Movies and music does that for me. There'll be certain scenes in a movie and I'll remember exactly where I was that first time I watched it and how it affected me. So you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter what kind of movie it is. It's what the memory...
I'll just take you back to a time you wish you could forget.
Well, I mean, yeah, I suppose. But we'll forget about that. Okay, that's your number 8. My number 8, now I'm going... Again, you talk about stupid comedy. I'm not going to read the whole name of the title of the movie because all I need to say is Borat. So it's about as ridiculous a movie as you can get. It's Sacha Baron Cohen playing Borat. Some of the positions he gets himself in. I mean, have you seen this movie?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, there are certain positions he gets in with his manager that don't. It makes your mouth go dry and you think, how did they film that? Because him and his manager having a naked wrestle in a hotel suite that ends up on this some kind of business convention stage where they're both absolutely stark bollock naked. It's ridiculous.
I actually have a really embarrassing story about that in particular.
Go on.
And that is, that scene was playing on my TV and we had a meter reader. Do you know what that is?
What, they're coming into...
They, in our front yard at my parents' home, they had to walk around to the side of the house to check the meter, and they do it randomly. And my blind, wide open, that scene is on as a meter reader. And I was like, oh no.
And did they say anything?
No.
Say, morning, how you doing?
I was like... On my screen is, Sacha Baron Cohen with the big, blacks it out.
That's right. And they went back to the office and said, you'll never believe what they were playing on that TV when I was doing the meter reading. Holy moly. Yeah, that is the worst of timings, isn't it? Because it could have been any other part of that movie. It was that moment. It is. I mean, look, if anybody hasn't seen that, for our Patreon subscribers, on the video playlist for this episode, I will put that scene from YouTube in the video playlist. But be warned, just be warned is all I'm going to say. But that's the beauty of someone like Sacha Baron Cohen. He doesn't care as long as it's the comedy's there. And Borat is just, I can remember watching it the first time and just laughing and looking at things through my fingers because there's certain bits you go, oh my God, he's going to get himself hurt doing this. Someone's going to beat him up, But it's such a funny movie. So I'm going to have that.
Very quotable too. I quote Borat all the time.
Yeah. If ever, it's funny you say that because I only did this week. Every time, if I'm talking to somebody at work and I say about my wife, I'll say, oh, my wife. And then I go, my wife. Every single time. And people will look at me like, what? And they don't know what I'm talking about, but it's, very nice.
Yeah, I always do the one that's like, you'll never get this. You'll never get this.
It's so good. Okay, that's my number 8. So on to your number 7 then, please, Rhys.
Hey, number 7, Tim Burton, 1990, Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, Edward's classic, absolute classic.
I love that movie. So my favorite director is Wes Anderson. And I always put that down to the fact that, for me, his movies are, visually, it's artwork. His plots may not be, the best, whatever, but, visually stunning.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Tim Burton was probably, the catalyst into me discovering my love for, Wes Anderson, because I think his movies are so beautiful. And this one in particular, the imagery in this one alone, like how green the greens are and like how orange the oranges are, like I fell in love with like all the pretty things of the movie. And I think I didn't watch this for a bit because I think the concept of like the scissor hands actually like scared me as a child a little bit. I was like, what do you mean he's got scissor hands? And then the empath in me, the one scene where he's like trying to cut up his dinner and then eat it and he has scissor hands and he couldn't, I would cry because I was like, how does he eat food? Like, he's so sad. Like, he's got scissor hands. So it was probably not until like I was like later in my teens where I like fully watched the movie in like one sitting, and I love it. I love Winona Ryder in this as well, and I love like the juxtaposition between like him being like this scary Frankenstein character and she's like the blonde, like pure, like, you know, young woman in it. And I just think it was so beautiful and like it was so poetic. And the end scene where he cuts into the ice and makes like the swan and they're like dancing together, like I just think it's all so like beautiful. And being a Tim Burton film as well, like so special. I love his work as well.
It's weird you say, because like Tim Burton and Wes Anderson feel like they're two sides of the same coin, but Tim Burton is the dark side and Wes Anderson is the, because when Wes, like you say, Wes Anderson's movies always looks beautiful. They've all, and they're always, whether he changes the format of the screen, sometimes it's 16:9, sometimes it's square, but even if you just look at something like the Grand Budapest Hotel, it's just every shot is just beautifully composited, you know, with great colors. And whereas Tim Burton, every shot is beautiful, but it's always got like this dark, there's always curly bits and gnarly bits. And you know, even his Batman, you know, then from what was that, 19
horror movie I'm sorry.
But that is a great one. Yeah, and someone like Johnny Depp, who's always thought of as a pretty boy, but in that movie he's so not necessarily uglied up, but he looks gnarly and it's just all sharp edges and cuts on his face and the sad look on his face. It's an amazing performance from Johnny Depp. I think he's such a good actor and doesn't just, a bit like Brad Pitt, they don't just rely on the fact that they're good looking. They play movie roles that are just a bit gnarly and a bit rough around the edges instead of like the pretty boys that they could easily get away with playing. But that's a great
facts before the episode. He only speaks like 160 odd words or something, which I didn't actually know. So to have that profound like impact and like make such a good like character come to life with little words is so cool as well. I love that.
That's a great. I mean, it isn't in my top 10, but that is a great one. That is a great one. My number 7, I'm going for Monty Python's Life of Brian. Now this will probably end up in a future episode when I do sword and sandals epics as well, because you can have that one in there because they've all got sandals on. But the Life of Brian for me is like the greatest Monty Python movie. It is again a typical a different type of comedy, and it was very controversial at the time. But it's got some. I don't know if have you seen this movie, Rhys?
I've only seen Holy Grail.
You've only seen Holy Grail. Well, did you like Holy Grail?
Yes, I love the coconuts for the horse.
Well, if you
in my head right now,
if you liked Holy Grail, I think you will love The Life of Brian, because it is supposed to be like this. People say it's a religious epic. I mean, it's not. I mean, obviously, it's not really the story of Jesus. It's a story of Brian. But it's got so many great bits and bits in it that are just totally ridiculous. But it's Monty Python at the height of their creative powers, and one of the greatest comedy movies ever made, as far as I'm concerned. So I won't say any more than that, because I think it'll be interesting to hear what you say when you do your episode on it.
Yeah,
add it to the list.
I just love I think sometimes comedy goes for the low-hanging fruit and they miss, but something like that, it's all low-hanging fruit, but it's so clever how they do it.
It is. And also the thing is that those guys, the Monty Python guys, are so clever, and they can dissect a joke, and even though it might, like you say, be low-hanging fruit of a joke, they kind of squeeze every single drop of comedy out of that low-hanging fruit, and that's what they're brilliant at, because it'll be a simple man talks to woman, but for some reason they are able to get certain angles in it that make it hilarious that no one else can do, because those guys all work together, and it's just such a good movie. But that's my number 7. Your number 6 was John Wick, so we've already spoken about that. My number 6 is Shaun of the Dead, with Simon Pegg. Have you got that in your top 10? No,
I haven't. No. It was my 11th pick, actually.
Was it really? Again, if you want to talk about great comedy movies and a genre movie, I mean, it's a great zombie movie as well. Simon Pegg, the whole start of the Cornetto trilogy, it's just a great movie. And the fact that Shaun is the protagonist in it, if you like, the hero. It's my favourite of the Cornetto trilogy, if you like, but it nearly made your top 10.
Yeah, nearly. I have always quote we'll go to the pub and have a pint. I always say that, because I do it in the admittedly it's been a couple of years since I've seen it, but it was another one where I think my dad, again, he set it up to be a horror movie, and I was like, oh, okay. And then we're watching it, and I'm like, is this for real? Like, I was so confused again, but I loved it, and I loved the one scene. Again, it's been a couple of years, so I'm not quite remembering, but they obviously have their little, like, ragtag team, and then they pass, like, the other people in the zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
Like, them as well, but like in different versions. And I remember thinking that was so funny and so clever. And but I always say we'll go to the pub and have a pint.
And Edgar Wright is great, and when they're right, there's so many little details that when you watch it again, you notice little things that set up. They'll say something that sets up something a little bit later on, or there'll be something just things you got to always look at in the background, or things that is stuck on the fridge. And it's something that I think
I read, like, his thing about how he does his spiel about going to the pub. Each line actually represents something that then happens, or something like that.
It's so clever.
I think I remember reading about that as well. And then I also remember thinking, I was like, if we're in a zombie apocalypse, I wonder what my driving force to stay alive would be. Because I think it would be like, I want to go to the pub again at some point as well. I'd probably be the same, to be honest.
I've said it before. If there was a zombie apocalypse, I'd go out and get bit straight away. Because those zombies are having a hell of a time. They're having a whale of a time. Whereas the people that are alive are, like, worried about staying alive. These zombies are just going around. They haven't got to worry about anything. They're just loving it. So, I'd be part of that party, I think. Just get bit.
I think that's a good point. Me too, actually.
Yeah, and just go and join the zombie party. That's it. You're just there all day. You haven't got to work. You haven't got to worry about staying alive or worry about eating. You just, bits of you drop off, when they decay. Join up for that party. That sounds like fun. Yeah. Okay, we're halfway through, so it's time for this.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Pop quiz, hot shot. Right then, Rhys. I've got you 10 questions, but what I've got is the taglines to the posters of movies that have got male names in the title.
Oh,
okay. It is going to be tricky. It is. Some of these are really easy. Some of these are really hard. But just remember that the movie that it comes from has a name in the title. Okay?
Okay.
Here we go then. Number 1. Ever want to be someone else? Now you can.
So silly when you say it. I bet it'll be so easy.
Yeah. Ever want to be someone else? Now you can.
Okay, my mind is thinking like switching around, but I don't know.
Do you want to have a guess, or do you just want to let that one go?
Totally mind blank.
Way wrong answer.
It's Being John Malkovich.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie.
Okay. Right then. Number 2. History is about to be rewritten by 2 guys who can't spell.
Oh, Bill and Ted's Fantastic Something Adventure.
All right.
I'm going to give you that one. It's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. There you go. Well done. Number 3. The Mission is a Man.
The Mission is a Man? Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Way wrong answer.
It's Saving Private Ryan.
I haven't seen that one either.
Have you not? Oh, there you go. You need a strong stomach for the first 25 minutes of that one, but it's... It's a movie you kind of have to watch, I feel, that one. Okay, number 4. Let the magic begin.
Magic? Oh, no. I don't know.
Right. I'm going to let you think about this one. Let the magic begin.
I mean, my brain was immediately like Harry Potter, but I don't remember any Harry Potter movie ever having a tagline on the thing, so I don't know.
Well, if you think it's Harry Potter and they're saying let the magic begin, which Harry Potter movie do you think it would be?
Philosopher's Stone. Is that what it's called? Oh, God.
All right.
Is correct, yes. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Don't worry, Rhys. I'll take your hand and guide you through some of these ones. Don't worry. Number 5. Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Vengeance.
Oh. Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Vengeance. I don't think I've seen whatever this is. I can already tell. I don't know.
No? Okay.
Way wrong answer!
That's Django Unchained, the Tarantino
I haven't
movie.
seen that. That's so embarrassing. That's my second favorite Tarantino
There
film.
you go. Number 6. In Bruce We Trust.
In Bruce We Trust. I just sort of like the shark from Finding Nemo.
I will give you a clue that Bruce is the name that's in the title of the movie.
Oh, is this Bruce Almighty?
All right.
Yes, it is Bruce Almighty. Okay, number 7. Every good thing in the world started with a dream. Every good thing in the world.
Way wrong answer!
No, it's Wonka.
Oh.
From which came out, was it?
That was a really good guess.
That came out last year, I think it was. Number 8. His whole life was 1,000,000 to 1 shot.
Not even any idea.
No? Okay.
Way wrong answer!
That's Rocky.
Oh, yeah, haven't seen it.
Okay. Number 9. The future belongs to the mad.
Future belongs to the mad.
The future belongs to the mad.
I got nothing on that one either.
No? Okay.
Way wrong answer!
That's Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, I have seen that.
Yeah. Okay, and the final one. A perfect assassin, an innocent girl, they have nothing left to lose except each other.
No, I got nothing on that one either.
No, okay.
Way wrong answer!
That was Leon. Have you ever seen Leon?
I have, of course, that makes sense.
But there you go, 3 out of 10. That's not bad.
No,
that's not bad because the tagline quiz is not the easiest of quizzes. Because some of those taglines can be very, very general and very, very sort of down the middle that, it could be anything. So, and considering you haven't seen half of the movies as well. To be fair, though, you got some of the ones wrong of the movies you have seen. So, there you go. But never mind. 3 out of 10 is not bad. You didn't get 0, so that's the best thing.
Yes, winning.
Yes, indeed. Right, back to the job in hand then, and your number 5, please.
Number 5, I don't know how to say this director's name, so I'm just not going to. But it's
Okay.
in 1993, What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
What's Eating Gilbert? Oh, this is another Johnny Depp movie.
It is. Have you seen this one?
I have, yes, because this was the first time I saw Leonardo DiCaprio and thought that guy's going to be a star.
Yeah. I rewatched it maybe like last year, and I just thought it was so interesting. I knew it was about I knew Leonardo DiCaprio played like a young disabled boy, but other than that, I wanted to know like what's eating Gilbert Grape, like what does that even mean? Like I was just like, I don't know. And I think you just see like a young man like trying to like be the man of the family and like hold it all together, and what's eating him is just the pressure of life. And I just found that to be so like wow, because I feel like we've all been there. We've all got all this noise sometimes in our life where it's just like overwhelming, and then But he gets like a little bit of happiness out of it, and I actually think the ending, despite like how sad it is also really good. I think it's like them taking back a little power from the prejudices of the town and stuff like that. And I love that ending, even like I said, even though it's sad. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie, and I thought, considering like the fact that obviously Leonardo DiCaprio is not actually like has the disability he's portraying, and like now it probably wouldn't be portrayed on screen like that. I think this movie's aged quite well, and I think it still like holds up, and I think it's one that like it's probably one of the few movies that I would say like I think people who enjoy cinema should actually sit down and watch, because I just think it has such a profound like message and creative way in which they do it. I just really enjoyed this one.
Well, the first time I saw it, I haven't seen it for a long time, but the first time I saw it, I genuinely thought Leonardo DiCaprio had a disability, because he was it was such an amazing performance. And the fact that I don't know how old he was.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he must have been early teens, I would have thought.
Yeah.
And it's a very understated movie. You know, there's no cop chases or gun fights, or you know, it's a very sort of real world kind of movie, very understated. But again, Johnny Depp, just a great actor in it. You know, it's a really good movie. But I need to watch that again. I need to add that to my list, because I honestly haven't seen it for a long time, and I feel it'd be nice to see, because I like Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's a great actor. But that was him at the very start of his like career, and you know, what a start! Yeah, that's a great one. Didn't even think about that one as an entry for the top 10 there, but well done, very good. Okay, my number 5. I mentioned it in the quiz just a minute ago, but Mad Max Fury Road. There hasn't been many movies over the last, I'd say, 10 years or whenever that movie came out, where I've come out of the cinema going, that is what cinema and theatre cinema is for. It was one of those, you know, it had CG, but it had a lot of very practical effects with cars and motorbikes and trucks blowing up in the desert, and it is such a good movie. Another one of those, Tom Hardy, I think he's great, especially in those kind of roles. He has hardly anything to say. He's very, very quiet. I love the old Mad Max movies with Mel Gibson. So seeing them sort of redo it, if you like, and it was non-stop. It was, and I love it. I've forgotten the name. Christ, what's the name? It was Charlize Theron. Yes, I think she's great. I think she's great in everything she does, and the fact that, I mean, she's one of the most beautiful women on the face of the earth, and she's got her head shaved, she's got an arm missing, she's all got grease all over her face. It's just a great, again, I think it's probably 2 hours long, but it's like starts and then it just never stops, and it's just got foot to the metal all through the movie. And Furiosa, which was the prequel to it, was okay, but not to me as good as you said. You saw this one, yeah?
Yeah, I actually watched it on a plane, and the plane ride went really quick.
Oh, really? Well, that's a good sign.
Yeah. Oh, I love this one as well, and like I didn't think I would, because obviously the whole movie, they're on the go. They're essentially having a car chase the whole movie, and it's actually really just cool. I actually call people who annoy me blood bags sometimes. I'm like, "Oh, a little blood bag." I thought that was such a creative way that he refers to his character.
That's great. Yeah, that is great. Yeah. It's very sort of larger than life and apocalyptic and all of those kind of things. But that had to be in my top 10.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like the car with the guy playing the guitar the whole way. I'm like, hell yeah.
Exactly. What a great way to travel. Okay, your number 4 then, please, Rhys.
My number 4 is a Wes Anderson film, 2004, and that is The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Have you seen that one?
You know what? I haven't, and it's one of those movies. It is on my list because somebody else talked about it in a previous episode. That's with Bill Murray, isn't it?
Yeah. There's something about this movie in particular. It's about a shark, actually. It's really interesting. The shark becomes like a catalyst into his character discovering himself. Basically, he goes out of his way to like find this shark. He's been on this boat and one of their divers fell in and then the shark attacks him and he passes away. So then Steve Zissou is like, I'm going to find this shark and I'm going to end this shark's life like it ended my friend's life. And then he seemingly has like this like really weird relationship with his son. He kind of disowns his son. He's got a bit of an estranged wife. And you realize that he's just, the killing of this shark to him is his way of like taking back some of his power in his life between all these relationships that are strained, and he thinks he's avenging his lost friend. And it's just so, I don't know, it's just kind of sad in a way. Like I think like he has this like identity crisis and he doesn't know like who he is necessarily. And then like the ending to me, and it's so good so I won't spoil it, but like it just is like, my favorite thing about cinema is movies that tie up in a nice little bow at the end, and it's one of those movies that just ties up so nicely, and you just see a character like go from being so down in the dumps to just being like everything's going to be okay. And I just love that as well in a movie. I love when a character has like a revelation about something and like becomes better, you know, becomes the butterfly from the caterpillar. So I really love this movie. And the creative thing about the shark is when you see the shark finally on screen, it's not actually a real, Wes Anderson doesn't have a real shark there. It's like this like drawing in his kind of style, like Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Right.
So I think there's like a fun little part in the movie as well that's really cool about it. Is that it's like a real life movie, but then he's got this like cartoon-esque shark in his like little art style. So yeah, I think it's, again, Wes Anderson's so beautifully made, like characters, the costumes, everything. And I love this one. I would really, really highly recommend you watch this one.
Yeah, like I say, it is on my list. I can't remember what podcast episode it was. I think we might have been talking about Ghostbusters and we were talking about Bill Murray, and somebody mentioned this one and said, you know, obviously I think Bill Murray's like a genius. He's just great in everything that I've seen him in. What's your favourite Wes Anderson movie then? Is this one your favourite?
I'd say the Grand Budapest Hotel, because
Right.
that was the one that made me really fall in love with like how visually stunning movies can be. I actually have a tattoo on my back of it says "Come see, come sa," which is a quote from Fantastic Mr. Fox. So I think I have a little bit of a love for all of them. I just think he masters the art of like human nature in such a way that seems kind of relatable, even though our characters find themselves in situations that are so absurd. Like, I'm not out on a boat trying to avenge a shark. But I can also see myself in Steve Zissou. But I think the Grand Budapest Hotel is generally my answer to that question.
Yeah, I would agree with that one, without a doubt. Okay, that's your number 4. My number 4, I don't think I've got a superhero movie on my... No, I haven't. But I'm going for Logan, which is the Wolverine.
That's my number 2.
That's your number 2. There you go. We've got 2. There you go. And this, again, was one of those movies that I came out of the cinema. I think everybody was sold by the trailer. When the trailer came out and they used the Johnny Cash version of Hurt. It's one of the greatest movie trailers I've ever seen. And I was crying at the trailer for this movie. And then going to see it. And it was such a great, fresh take on somebody who's invincible like Logan, like Wolverine, to see him like broken and blooded, and the fact that he can't regenerate as well as he used to, and it hurts when the adamantium claws come out and he's just breaking down. And then you've got Professor X, and the Professor X is like dementia, but he has dementia which means that like he could basically destroy the world when he had, and there's just so many things about that. And what I also love is the fact that it was such a devastating ending to that movie, that when Deadpool and Wolverine came along, it was one of the greatest starts to a movie, that they used the end of that movie as a start of their movie was just genius. And Deadpool Wolverine for me worked on every single level. But as a standalone movie that was sort of set in the future, if you like, Logan was just great, and it gave Hugh Jackman a great closure for that character. But once again, you've got it higher in your top 10 than I have, so you obviously really love this movie.
Yeah, I think the ending alone, where like, I don't want to spoil it.
No,
but, like,
I know. Yeah,
where the young girl does what she does in the closing credits, you're just like, oh my goodness, I think, yeah, like the superhero universe definitely makes superheroes so untouchable. It was like so refreshing to see like the fact that they are still kind of people in a way. And I was just so devastated by Professor X and everything. Like you said, the ending of the film, I got goosebumps as soon as you said that.
Yeah.
I just think it's really special and it's really sad. And I get sad about it actually because I'm like, it finally feels like Wolverine was gonna get something. Like he finally understood the concept of love. He obviously loved Professor X, and then he couldn't figure out his connection with Laura, but there was love there. But yeah, so good for that character, and yeah, such a great ending, and it felt in a way like a bit of like a redemption for him because I feel like in a lot of the movies, especially the newer X-Men. Like, I think in one of the X-Men, it might be Dark Phoenix, they refer to him as like, oh, there's an animal locked up, and he's in one scene, and I felt like this movie really, like, humanized him, and, like, he wasn't an animal. He was an individual in the wrong place at the wrong time way back when, and, I just love this movie. It's one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. I'll put that out there.
And when he, like you say, you see the human side of him, but when he takes those vials of the couple of shots and then he goes berserk in the forest, that's what you want to see, because that's one of those fist pumping moments when you see Wolverine in full flow, and he's lopping people's heads off and he's just skewering them to the. That's what you want to see when he's Wolverine. But and as much as like, there's only one person I think that can play Wolverine, is Hugh Jackman. He's tailor made, same as like Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. You can't see anybody else playing that character but them. And he's perfect. I mean, I'm a Hugh Jackman lover. I love him in everything that he does. So, that's
fans over failure of Hugh Jackman as well.
There you go. Okay, so that's our second duplicate that we've got. So at the moment I'm winning. So will we have one more? Who knows? So that was my number 4. So your number 3 then, please.
My number 3 is Edgar Wright's 2010 Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh my God, I didn't even think of that one. Okay.
So I don't know, like I just feel like my concept of like filmmaking and stuff also changed when I saw this one, because we talked about like low-hanging fruit and obviously like Life of Brian, the Holy Grail, whatever. And it just sometimes it shouldn't work, but it does. And I like the cartoon-esque elements of this one, how they go like pow, and I like how over the top and ridiculous all the 7 evil X's are. And I think every character, bold claim potentially, but I think every character in that movie was perfectly cast. I think that's one of the most perfectly cast movies I've ever seen. I just loved how crazy it was and over the top it was. And Michael Cera, like, I have a special spot for him. Like, I love it. So, yeah, I just think it's like a simple, like, comic book movie come to life, and it's just so fun from start to finish, and I just love it.
It was a massive flop. That was the thing. But I think it was a flop because, like, you're absolutely right. It was like a live action comic, and no one had seen anything like that before. The way that it was shot, and they had the old Edgar Wright about it all. And I was really, because I love that movie. I think it's like there's never been a movie like that since as well. And I felt sorry for Michael Cera because everyone was going on about him saying, oh, he just plays the same characters over and over again. He's like this geeky kind of thing. He gets to play this one role where he's kind of the hero in it. And it's a big flop. And everyone says, oh, it was a flop. It was a disaster. I think it's a great movie. And you're absolutely right. Every single person there has been cast absolutely correctly, and it's just the fact that it was a movie that no one had seen something like that before. It was definitely an outlier in any, all other movies were made the same kind of way. Edgar Wright comes in and makes something that's loud, brash, with, they're collecting coins, and coins are splashing out everywhere when someone gets destroyed or killed, if you like. I think it's a great movie. It should have been in my top 10.
I was hoping it would be. I was like that. I thought that would be the one that we would have for sure.
There you go. I feel I've I've stopped you from winning by making a mistake. But then it would have meant I'd have taken Robin Hood out, and I can't have taken Robin Hood out. So it probably would have been my number 11 then. It would have been my number 11. So my number 3, again, this movie or this character has been 3 or 4 times maybe, but I'm going to go for the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder, for me, again, another absolute comedy legend. I was brought up, one of the first books I ever read, and I don't read many books. I've never read many books, but Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl was one of the first books, if not the first book, that I read from cover to cover. And then when Willy Wonka came out, it was so colourful. Have you seen the original?
Yeah, I have seen the original.
It's just magical, but it's also so scary in places as well. You know, when they're on the boat, the river boat, and it's dark, and you see a chicken's head get chopped off. Well, it looks like a chicken's head get chopped off. It's like a bad dream. You know, there's so many, and the Oompa Loompas were always really scary, and they're doing that like weird dance and the weird song that would be part of a nightmare. But Gene Wilder makes that movie and gives that movie the kind of love and the humanness of it, even though he's basically batshit crazy. So yeah, that's my number 3.
I obviously, like, I grew up with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Like, that was my introduction. But
Johnny Depp again.
It is scary. The scene where he, like, you don't win, you lose, or whatever. That actually scared me when he's yelling at Charlie at the end.
Yes,
I thought that was scary. But
you lose, sir. Good day.
Yeah. Oh, scary. But yeah, I love that. I love that you can see, like, the progression and interpretation of the Wonka character through. Obviously, now we've got 3 versions, and I know the Wonka that just came out got a little bit of hate, but I also love the modern, like, interpretation of it now as well. So I think I thought
that was a really sweet film. I went in with no expectations at all. I thought, yeah, and a musical as well. What they're going to do, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really fun.
Yeah, so did I. I loved it.
Excellent. Good.
I really like all of them, I think. I think my rating would go Charlie, Wonka, and then, unfortunately, that one would be last for me. But I still think it's, like, a really great film as well.
Good.
I just was scared about it as a kid. Like, I thought it was scary.
Yeah. Okay, so that was my number 3. Your number 2 was Logan, which we've already spoken about. My number 2, I'm going to go with Forrest Gump. I absolutely love that movie. And again, for some reason, it gets a lot of shtick, and I don't know why. It's just
a little bit long. I think it's a bit of a long film.
It is, and I don't think some of the special effects hold up as well now as they would do if they made it today. But Tom Hanks is great in it, and it's one of those movies that if it's on, I will just watch it wherever it's from. Has one of the worst baddies in movie history, as far as I'm concerned, in Jenny, his girlfriend. She's just an evil witch, that woman. And she was in my top 10 movie villains. I think she was like number 2 or number 3 in my movie villains, because she's just horrible. I don't like her at all, but poor old Forrest. Forrest loves her anyway, so I'm not going to hold that against him. That's my number 2. Right, we've reached the summit, Rhys. And I need to know now what your number 1 movie with boy's name in the title is.
Okay, ready for this?
Here we go.
Eli Craig, 2010, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
Oh my lord, I would never have thought of that. It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
I love this movie so much. I think, again, like, Dad put it on, he's like watching a horror movie, and I was like, oh, like, okay, not a big horror fan. And then it's happening, and, like, my favorite thing in a movie is when things get more and more and more out of control. Famously, I really enjoy the movie Fargo for that reason. What started as like such a simple thing suddenly becomes this big issue, and I love that about this movie. And I also love the idea of, like, sort of like don't judge a book by its cover, but also like how you're reading a circumstance, someone else is completely not reading it that way. I love the scene where he's holding like I don't know what it's called, like the sky. There was something like that big, like the thing the grip holds. Yeah,
the scythe. Yeah.
And they're like, he's like, I'll just hold this and they'll think I'm really cool. And then they're like, this guy's going to murder us. Look at him. And I just think it's so funny. And I just think it's like the best. I think it's just like one of the best comedies. I think it's so simple and so funny.
So underrated. So underrated as well.
I always go, oh, officer, I'm having a doozy of a day. I love that.
Yeah, with the legendary Alan Tudyk as well. He's just great in absolutely everything. I can't remember whether he's Tucker or Dale. Oh no, he's Tucker. He's Tucker out of the two of them. But it's one of those movies that starts off as something and then becomes something like completely different. But it is a lot of fun. It's such a fun movie.
Yes, and I love the aesthetic. I love that they really set it up to be like a late 2000s horror movie that's going to be like Cabin in the Woods-esque, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, these kids are jumping in the wood chipper. He's like so confused, and I love the whole movie. I love it from start to finish. That is so good.
That is such a good one. Unfortunately, my number one isn't Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Mine is where if adventure has a name, then the name is Indiana Jones. And I had to have an Indiana Jones movie. So I've gone for Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade as my number one. Could have been Temple of Doom. I wouldn't have chosen Raiders of the Lost Ark because for some reason in like recent times they've called it Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, which it's not. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark. So Indiana Jones's name isn't on there for me. But The Last Crusade, as I said earlier on, I don't think adventure movies are... That's the peak of adventure movies, is Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. They should never remake him or never recast it or whatever. It, for me, is the greatest. It's just from start to finish. I watched it not long ago. And again, like your, I can't remember which one you said it was about, John Tucker Must Die, where you watch it every year. Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade I'll put on every year. I'll put all of them on. I love those movies. Have you watched the Indiana Jones movies?
I have. I kind of, it's been a while, so they kind of all blur together,
right?
Like for me a little bit. But I used to love Short Round, like the character.
Yeah.
And actually, in one of my episodes, I don't know why I referenced it, but I was talking about a movie aesthetic, and I said it reminds me when Indiana Jones goes to the atomic bomb testing thing with the fake families, and like
that's
I
right.
love that sequence.
Because you were talking about the colorization of it, weren't you? I can remember hearing that. Yes.
Is that niche that no one knows Indiana Jones, but it's a like small scene in the movie that doesn't really add to the movie. But I think that's is that Temple? No, it's not the one you're.
That was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That was number 4. That was one after they'd taken a break.
I think that's the one I've seen the most. I think me and my brother used to like when like the alien aspect sort of thing that kind of happens in it. So I think that's the one I've seen the most. But yeah.
And the set in that scene is straight out of a Wes Anderson movie, isn't it? It's yeah. yeah, absolutely. Okay, right, let's go through the honourable mentions that we've got. Jeff Flores said Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan, Good Will Hunting, Jerry Maguire, Edward Scissorhands, The Talented Mr. Ripley, The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford, also 2 for there, got 2 names in there, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Patton, The Truman Show, Nacho Libre, Because Sometimes a Man Has to Wear Stretchy Pants. David Bajer says The Inevitable Defeat of Mr. and Pete, 2013, is very cute. And what about a deep cut? The Oscar-nominated animated short, The Mysterious Geographic Explorations of Jasper Morello in 2005. Wow, that's about as deep a cut as you can get, I think. Kareem Pastor says Christopher Robin. It's so enduring and nostalgic. And Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the original with Gene Wilder. So Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Callie Kastner says Derek Zoolander. Van Wilder, sorry, I know we all hate Ryan Reynolds now, but Van Wilder is 2000's iconic. I think everybody loves Ryan Reynolds now, I think.
I'd never heard of any slander, to be honest. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, so that's Van Wilder, that one from is 2000's iconic. Romeo and Juliet, the 90s Baz Luhrmann adaptation specifically. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And she says, does Frankenstein count as a guy's name? If so, Young Frankenstein, which is a Mel Brooks classic. And at Southern View on X said, for me, it has to be the charming 1950s comedy Harvey, starring with Jimmy Stewart as an enduring drunk whose family thinks he is insane because he's friends with a possibly imaginary 6-foot white rabbit. And I've seen that movie, and it is hilarious. It is really, really funny. But an oldie. It's an oldie. It's a black and white oldie movie. But there you go, Rhys. We've done it.
Yay! I didn't win though.
We've done it. But yes, so we had 2. So unfortunately, I won Lisa's challenge this week. Oh, never mind. But never mind. So, Rhys, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you and where they can listen to your podcast.
So at the moment, it's just on Spotify and Apple, and it's just the Crook Cut. And I'm pretty much only on Threads at the moment, so I post on there as much as I can. Yeah, that's where we found each other.
Indeed, absolutely, it was. And for everybody else, of course, you can go to the show notes. You will hear Neil's dulcet tones tell you everything about all the stuff that we've got going on, but it's all in the show notes. Just click around. If you want to be a guest on your own podcast, then just like Rhys, come and join our Patreon for £5 a month. You get a cool little badge, and you get all the episodes 5 days early, ad free, and you get all of the bits and pieces. It's all up there on Patreon, and you can be a guest on our podcast. Rhys, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you, and good luck with the next 500 episodes. And don't forget me when you're on that red carpet, okay? Because I'll be expecting a call. Thank you very much, Rhys, and thank you very much for everybody else for watching and listening. Now let's go start the countdown.